Hello, everyone. Today, I'm gonna grunt about some shit. And it's some shit near and dear to my fucking heart. So prepare to be spoken to, or ranted at, as a result of an old head infantryman crashing out about his beloved brothers and sometimes sisters I also call grunts. My lovable murder hobos, the Infantry. And in this video, I will attempt very poorly, but very simply, to talk about them in every single universe I can possibly remember in my TBI-riddled, IED-rattled, PTSD-fueled, special way that I can. Let's fucking go. Infantry, very simply put, is a specialization of military personnel who engage in a specific type of warfare, mostly falling under close quarter combat, close direct combat engagement, or my favorite, to close with, eliminate, and destroy the enemies of whatever state, nation, or country, or whatever entity you swore your life to the people of. Infantry generally consists of light infantry, irregular infantry, heavy infantry, mountain infantry, motorized infantry, mechanized infantry, airborne infantry, air assault infantry, and, least mentioned, but just as important, naval infantry. That said, in case you didn't get it already, this video is all about it. And when I mean infantry, I mean the strict definition, as in personnel, not robots or drones or stand-ins for real grunts. I mean to pin the persons in personnel on my roster of killers, called infantrymen, and leave it purely so. Sorry, anti-human fanatics that love the idea of having your personal armies of murder machines that can just be programmed to your whims and fancy like some overgrown toddler that never grew up with any measure of discipline or reality checks, and only ever got your way. But this is about people. People that decided to write a blank check to populations that hate them in order to keep back whatever enemies you have by default of your existence, the mostly men, but women as well, who decided that others were worth risking their one and only existence to defend, for whatever reasons that make them put on a uniform and become a target for whatever hates you, and also be a stand-in for you when subject to being prisoner of such in your stead. On behalf of all of them, you are welcome. Have I crashed out enough yet? Okay, there's a lot more, motherfucker, and today I will learn you harder than graphene is to make and supply. That being said, we are starting with Halo. From your usual regular grunts in the UNSC branches to your special mission units or commandos of all stripes, and the top tier of them all, ODSTs and Spartans. Infantry in Halo is good enough to not only take on a technologically superior enemy in close combat, but to stomp them into the dirt, even while losing the entire time. No matter the engagement, the enemy force size, the tech, superior numbers, and firepower, the UNSC infantry always delivered one of two things: a total enemy wipe, or victories so fucking costly to the Covenant, they decided it was better to glass entire planets rather than just keep sending reinforcements. I need a... Let me drink for that one. I will fucking say that again for everyone in the back. Regular fucking grunts made a numerically superior enemy quit throwing numbers at them and fucking rage quit. You heard me. Moving on. Even the Covenant's literal elite warriors, the best the Covenant had, were so goddamn impressed with just your average UNSC infantrymen, much less the Spartans, who were to the Coveys so scary they were called demons. Just like in all religions and all universes, their performance against everything the Covenant had to throw at them had such a psychological effect against literal religious zealots trying to wipe them from existence, that they started to question not only the entire war, but their millennia-strong core beliefs and religion so hard. It started a civil war inside a civilization that was up to that point, stomping humanity fucking flat on every metric, victories won for humanity notwithstanding. It was so bad. Former Covenant high leadership on every level were going to former human worlds and damned near crying over the absolute totality of a unit that humanity's warriors were in those battles. Not fucking kidding. It's in lore books. It's literal canon. And felt so goddamn bad about it. They lamented over glassing human worlds where they fought. And that is fucking glorious. Because even after losing and being dead for decades in most cases, the human infantrymen's dead spirits were haunting them and assaulting their goddamn dreams from the afterlife. Talk about karma. The UNSC infantry at every level made their own karma manifest amongst the enemy with their sheer fighting spirit. Remember, part of the creed is to destroy. And since destruction doesn't have to be physical, and it's kind of hard to accomplish that one if you are dead, internal destruction of your enemy can suffice, it seems. And that was some bloody, violent, righteous karma, if you ask me. That's the grunts of the UNSC. They may not win, but they will fuck you up, dead or alive. And that's a binary nobody can dispute. Spartan side note, original female Spartans, most especially Kelly and Linda, and then all the rest of the female Spartan 2s in original lore canon. Reach is not canon. It is just cool fan fiction that I also like, but will never accept because it's lore breaking, and 343 becoming a Skinwalker rebrand name of Halo to hide the fact they're dog shit just makes it worse. Are the best female Spartans and the best girls to ever grow, period. If I had any fictional crushes, it would be them, at their pinnacle form, alongside female gears from the next part. As operational adults, remember, they started as children, so that caveat is very necessary. And I would happily take the place of any UNSC regular grunt, period, just so I could propose to them. I don't give a fuck if they are super soldiers. They were all real independent boss babes that I think would have been the perfect wives, period, that not only would be monster mummies, but that I would have every confidence in, period, due to sheer competence and commitment. Fit women are sexy as a default, but women that are extremely capable on every level, and that are not just posing as such. Fucking sends me to high charity to solo nuke it into oblivion because I fucking love them. Okay, female Spartan simping side note over, let's move on. Oh, and just so I can say it again, Halo Studios is dog shit. Suck my balls. Next, Starship Troopers. The Mobile Infantry, or MI as it is called in both the books and the movie. Anything past the first movie is not real to me, and it's at best B-tier slop you watch with your brain-dead friends when you are higher than helium off of some sweet, sweet green dubs when you need to always take the edge off. I would know. That is what I did. Hard times and all that. The MI, or Mobile Infantry, are basically the infantry of the future, 700 years from the years the books were written. Faster than light travel is quite extraordinary, as you can cover about 10 light years in just 2 weeks. Talk about logistics, Jesus. Energy and its miniaturization ensure everyone has plenty of energy to spare for whatever they want, while military technology, which is far advanced of us now, as well as the military, exists side by side, as the only way to get to vote is you must have taken the real risk of dying for it, and therefore must earn such privilege, which is never simply granted, like for us by dint of birth. I mean, they literally have regeneration technology. You can lose a limb and get it back without finding the original, which is very appealing to a grunt like myself, and the Mobile Infantry is strictly how it sounds. Mobile. And according to all accounts, Starship Troopers by Heinlein is credited as being the pioneer for powered armor and suits of every kind we know today. Indeed, you would not have Gundams, or Big O, Pacific Rim, the Iron Giant, or Titans, or anything possibly resembling it without Starship Troopers having started it. And by mobile, I mean mobile. Just look at this. And this. And this. Not only has this stood the test of time on all accounts, but the progenitor of our beloved armor buffs to my dear, dear infantry is equal to anything presented today from anywhere, and could still match it. The Mobile Infantry powered armor suits takes the usual flavors, and in the words of one Juan Johnny Rico, they've turned humans into, quote, steel gorillas, with the enhanced abilities and performance granted by such. They could jump over entire buildings, take tank rounds to the face, and bulldoze through anything within the upper limits that being a steel gorilla would allow. MI were capable of hitting targets in many cases miles away, and armor variants had specialties, plus utility, to spare in every regard. And they still almost lost to some fucking space pests the size of houses, and in some cases, the size of battleships on old Terra. Not for lack of anything, really. Just because numbers and single-minded tenacity bugs have is a quality all its own. And when you have zero regard for any existence, even your own, even you could overwhelm the most stalwart enemy with even the best tech ever known. That is Starship Troopers. For the younger audience, imagine Helldivers 2 on steroids, HGH and TRT, with armored suits that could actually move better than you, and not the clunky mess that is in the game currently. While useful, the suits in Helldivers 2 are very lacking compared to something that would let you jump up onto a mountain and then bombard your enemy where they could never reach you. And from literally beyond all sight ranges. That is the Mobile Infantry I have introduced you. That being said, MI suffers from the same as all the rest of these aforementioned subjects. There are just never enough of them. And despite their valor and bravery, combined with their tech and capabilities, they are still, ultimately, mortal and limited regardless. That said, piss off the Mobile fucking Infantry, and they may not always win, but they will absolutely fuck you up beyond question. I mean, they terrified a bug thousands of times their size, and everyone knows bugs don't have feelings. Next, Gears of War and their infantry. Let's just stick to the grunts we know and love. The cog infantry, and mostly the gears, which is what the cog infantry was most colloquially known as. The cog infantry at just the individual level were absolute fucking units. I mean, just look at these men. These goddamned meat mountains of men. Arnold, eat your heart out. You got shit on these dudes, period. Marcus Phoenix alone could beat the world's strongest man IRL. And that would be his fucking playtime. Not even a warm-up. Just playing. Side note, I am sticking to old school Gears of War, and lore stops for me after Marcus kills Queen Mira. Anything afterwards is just modern audience fan-in at best. Delusional activist fan fiction at worst. Old Gears is best Gears. Get over it. Individually, each gear is an IRL strongman bodybuilder if steroids, TRT, and HGH were just genetic fucking traits as a literal biological baseline. These humans were baseline units before becoming gears, and human monsters afterwards. On an individual level, gears are lifting several ton steel doors, and there is a picture somewhere of Marcus lifting as a light workout somewhere around... Wait, let me check my math real quick. 3,960 pounds in his old mansion. Small plates weighed about 660 pounds, and there were 6 of them on the bar. Forget how heavy the bar possibly fucking was to hold that much weight, Jesus. And that was just where he grew up. As a fucking teenager, Marcus Phoenix was benching a full-sized fucking SUV or a pickup truck, which is close to 4 tons. As a fully grown adult, they are most likely lifting elephants. They can weigh anywhere from 4 to 7 tons. Saren humans are just built different. If I could get isekai'd, whatever, I think I used that correctly. Someone will let me know, I am sure. I would love to be a gear and come back to Earth to repopulate it after the nukes drop. Humanity will be in space again, and we will conquer the cosmos with that much biological hardware as a baseline frame to start with, with how safe our brains would be as a result. Much like the last segment's heroic stalwarts, the gears were basically always losing, period. Even after the war was said and done, to an extent with the Locust, more and worse shit just kept coming at them. It was almost like someone modded Gears of War to have Murphy's Law as a default setting turned up to max. But the fact humanity survived a great filter level event, I say that surviving to regain numbers and repopulate by itself is a solid fucking win in my book. Also, Sam, Anya, and Bernie are the best girls to girl in Gears of War. Don't forget those related to, the Helmet kid. Most specifically, that old family as well. And you cannot stop this old soldier from loving his female grunts that know what dedication, strength, power, commitment, and loyalty actually look like, coming from truly independent boss babes instead of wannabes. They not only do all the men can do, but keep up, and are still female and feminine in every way, but also stand next to the men, shoulder to shoulder, and are not trying to get in everyone's way because they think their gender or sex makes them special and therefore superior to the men. Hashtag make gaming great again. In totality, Gears are monsters compared to the average of other sci-fi universes, most well known by the general casual population of those that play games or read. If I had to pick to be a regular grunt, period, it would be a Gear, no questions asked. Especially so I could have a Gear wifey that I would never have to worry about much, except to ensure that I am firing on all gears, pun intended, to give her all the love she absolutely deserves, because I have zero doubts that is all I would have to worry about as far as she is concerned, period. Side note, I know there is zero chances of that existing in our reality, so I make do with what's in my head canon. Thanks for listening. I hate our reality. Please and thanks. Now moving on. Gears rip everything in front of them apart bare-handed, even while losing so much the same as the UNSC. They may not always win, but they will survive and will absolutely make anyone deeply regret beating them at all. Okay. Time for the gay lames woke slop. Okay. Time for the gay lames woke shop slop to make an appearance. Hope you're happy, chaos cultists. You win this round. If you don't know what I am talking about, then go away, tourist. You're not welcome here. And in the name of the God Emperor, you should be purged from every existence. Crash out over, let's get to lore. From the Planetary Defense Forces to Primarchs, the infantry of Warhammer 40k are not the best, the strongest, the fastest. In fact, they are mostly nothingest you could get, while still being viable in a purposely OP setting that is actually a try-hard wannabe OP setting that fails its number scaling on every level. But I digress. The Imperial Guard are closer to the UNSC or IRL military than they are the next fucking level their infantry goes to. By orders of magnitude difference of a planet versus a solar system. Also kinda, depending on who is writing what, at what time, inconsistency to cover lazy writing or agenda-driven writing as a lore cover is just annoying as all hell. But here we are. They at least win almost as much as they lose, or even more so. They fight everything from other humans, to aliens of all different stripes, to literal armies of biblical Satans and Lucifers with just a high-powered flashlight, faith, and balls of ceramite you could replace whole exterminatist planets with. And they actually win a lot. But not just from skill, training, or balls, but numbers. When the hammer of the Imperium falls on some shit, it drowns its enemy in sheer numbers, and has the next best thing to fortify that hammer, called Space Marines. Basically mini humanoid tanks with legs that can tank enemy fire and give it back tenfold. As the meme says, the Space Marines are their own cover. Not that they do not use some tactics and strategy of a sort, but it's just what you expect from them. Take a look at a Space Marine. You pretty much know what to expect, and they deliver. But then go to the next level, and specifically to the level of Primarchs, and now you are literally talking demigods. Literally emphasized so strongly because they are the sons of a god, literally said. But at their core, no matter their super soldier status, they are all ultimately and still, fundamentally, infantrymen, point blank, period. They may be upgraded and elevated beyond their standard regular human brethren, but your guards men and guards women, normal humans all, are the core of the next level metas. Sisters of Battle are basically female Space Marines. Sisters of Silence as well. Best sisters both. Space Marines are all male, and so are Custodes. Primarchs are all male, period. From your baseline to the most expensive models, Infantry in Warhammer 40k has a lot to throw at you to win. And they do not care about costs. They even have the literal definition of attrition warfare as a special regiment called the Death Corps of Krieg, whose sole purpose in life is to drown the enemy in their corpses, chop enemies up with trench shovels until they stop showing up or you wipe them out, because there is always more than enough Death Corps of Krieg. End of story. That being said, I would never want to be anything in gay lame woke shops slop verse, period. In universe or out universe, inconsistency is the norm, activism and writing is the new norm, and I would not want to serve alongside a chaos cultist just because they pretend to be on my side. I am convinced Tzeentch and Slanesh made an IRL pact and are trying to rewrite history to give the Chaos Gods an edge in universe over the better factions by warping the brains of the gay lames woke shop people into believing chaos on any level is good. Okay. Now let's go with the Stardust Enterprise? Whoops, wait. That doesn't sound right. Starship Enterprise? Wait, no, that's a starship in the Star Trek universe. They don't have any infantry as far as I know. Where the hell? Oh, wait. I already made a video about Battletech Infantry. Actually, several. They are on the channel. Link in description. This video is long enough. Let's move on from the fucked up, crashed out part of the script. Here it is. Star Wars Infantry. Shit. How do I mix it up with Star Trek? They're both soft as fuck. That is how you... That is... What do you want from me? Anyway, let's go with the totality of the human factions of Star Wars. Their infantry combined, from the planet's militaries to the Grand Army of the Republic, to the Imperial Army and Stormtroopers, clone troopers most specifically, to the Republic Commandos. They are pretty awesome in a way. Republic Commando, best Star Wars game, may it forever never have a modern audience remake, please never. Even in the hundreds of thousands, clone troopers were outperforming space murder death robots that numbered in the trillions or more, while there is only ever record of there being in the high millions of clone troops. While wearing white fucking armor that stands out everywhere, like a target on a shooting range the size of a billboard. These infantry grunts still dominated the whole galaxy for a long time, relative to human years, and were so good They literally fought alongside both Jedi and Sith, and sometimes fought both, depending on who read what and what is fanon canon and woke canon, and could still have the chance to come out on top. There's even a book. I forget which one. Few books in Star Wars were enthralling enough to make me stand up while reading. But there is a special squad of commandos that literally defied Darth Vader to his face and lived to tell the tale, as far as I remember. And he force-choked gods. Then again, they might also have been ARC troopers. Whatever. I cannot find it, so I'll stick to it. Not only that, but they broke their programming and defied Order 66. In my own words, fuck yeah. The later renamed stormtroopers that made up the Imperial Army actually degraded over time. And while they did not live up to the quality and training of their progenitors or their predecessors, they did still rule the fucking galaxy with a tech level that would easily rival on a baseline, if not surpass, the other factions and universes' mentions of infantry on a basic standard level. When half your weaponry just atomizes shit if it hits it, space lasers are ubiquitous, and numbers are always ramped up to 11 and beyond, the galaxy far, far away, you know victory is just a matter of time. What the hell is a space wizard gonna do against an army led by a force user that can pull your entire fleet and toss it into a black hole he decided to make right next to it? And even if he does nothing but tell his troops to go die, the tech level and numbers alone will absolutely suffice. But with the terrible aim stormtroopers have in the modern day, that might make a difference against, say, the Imperial Guard, who tends to hit shots more often than not, so maybe the quality of their infantry versus other factions' infantry equals out. Plus, the Guard uses cover, on top of having decent standard armor and fortifications and emplacements. You don't see stormtroopers doing that very much, if at all, depending on other things. Numbers are a quality of their own, but it pretty much ends there. Now let's talk about the guys a lot of people think of themselves as, but never truthfully are. The Rebel faction. They barely register except for plot armor. They are written to win anyway, and are not better than your standard stormtrooper by much. So swap their places and it's not much difference. Now, Republic commandos made into a standard army that stood the test of time and never changed? That would be a fuck yeah from me. That being said, I think the commandos would see everything humanity is fighting in Warhammer 40k. They would drop everything else and stand alongside the guardsmen and simply say, let's get to work. And I love my headcanon more than any woke canon, so I'm sticking with it. Suck my nuts, it's my video. I do what I want in my own head, thanks for clicking. Welcome to my insanity. Maybe I have had too many blows to the head. But I feel okay, so it's okay. Don't think about it. Moving on. Moving on. Before I crash out and burn like a Star War about the Disneyfication of Stark woke in the modern day. Knights of the Old Republic still great. Still play it when I can. Best eras of Star Wars. Helldivers. My video about Helldivers is in the description. Just watch it alongside this one. Helldivers is not a very strong... They're not very strong, powerful, or anything really. It's just humanity in space. Pretty much it. Nothing else to it really. Still a fucking awesome game, despite the wokeivist community managers. The game is fucking fantastic. What else? Let me see. Trench Crusade? Fuck. That's a lot to get into. Personal recommendation is to check out Kateri on YouTube or Fantasy Future. Both good channels. It's still relatively new, and it's harder to understand than Warhammer 40k. It's Warhammer 40k. If Warhammer 40k was more true to its wannabe status, stuck to its established non-woke slop lore, and turned everything, especially the grim darkness of it all, up to a fucking million. Your average infantry can fight toe-to-toe with literal biblical demons from hell, and literally toe-to-toe with a fucking sword, gun, and shield, wearing medieval armor scaled up to be viable against bullets and magical fucking missiles and shit, with roughly industrial age technology mixed with mysticism, mixed with religion, mixed with magics and sorcery derived from real-world religions and beliefs, with a tint of such things as alchemy and more. Need I go on? That being said, Trench Crusade is small as fuck. The scale doesn't even register on the same level as Halo, much less Warhammer 40k or Stark Woke. It's not even on scale with something as grounded as Battletech, which basically spans the Milky Way. It's all just on Earth, and that is it. Sure, you can argue the scale of threat is pretty big, but when everything is limited and stuck on only one planet, even the dimensional stuff is still stuck to the same exact planet. I mean, verse anything, it's losing big time. Warhammer 40k? Exterminatus and just do the Malkador thing, where you just shove the whole planet into a black hole, and then close the black hole. All problems on the planet are simply gone. It's not even a fight, just cleanup. UNSC? Sure, it would be a serious fight on the ground, but I think the UNSC would take one look and decide the planet is not worth all the trouble on it and nuke it into oblivion, launch a few thousand nuclear missiles and just quarantine what's left. If demons don't have a place to invade to or from, they just stop being a problem, since it all seems limited again to only one planet where all the bullshit is stuck on. Or wait, I'm not taking it far enough. The Halo rings. Humanity basically owns them now and knows how to use them. Turn them all onto that one single planet and annihilate everything on it. Bingo, no more demons or anything else for that matter. Star Wars. What is a demon gonna do when a Sith decides to just throw the planet into the sun? Kinda hard to do limited demon shit when a Force user that can eat stars and toss planets around like toys decides you can just stop existing on the one single planet all this fuckery is happening on. Now, Trench Crusade is cool and is very nice and grim scary, but when your whole thing is literally only the scale of a single planet that only fits so much on it, it loses its oomph for me at least. Still cool as fuck. I want this shit in space. Someone please campaign to have this scaled up to a fucking Googleplex level of insanity. I want real Space Crusaders. Fucking please and thank you. Fine. I will mention Battletech a little bit. Battletech is like real-life military grunts of everywhere if they went into space with 80s technology. Not much to be said, already covered in another bunch of videos, and they are linked in the description. But I will say this, when you have infantry that can take down walking giant armored robots of any size, well, that is me and the grunts I know. In space. In war. And war never changes, just gets new toys. Battletech infantry is a mixed mash with tech. Some places still use ballistic weaponry. Some use lasers. Flamethrowers are still a thing. Machine guns, riding winged dinosaurs with all the same basic capabilities of a grunt, just like me. see my linked Helldivers video for a physical demonstration. And I am an old retired grunt, at least for now. And I am literally nothing special, period. Not much to say beyond that, really. Between Halo and Battletech, both fairly grounded, but Battletech more so. Just take a standard US Army or Marines grunt and put them in space with fancier versions of what they use now. Kaboom, you have Battletech Infantry. There you go. Everything else goes also about what you would expect it. Again, very grounded universe. And take note that Infantry is still, on average, the makeup of 80% of militaries in the galaxy. You heard me. For a universe heavily centered around giant stompy robots and their pilots called mech warriors, it sure seems like Infantry, even thousands of years in the future, still cannot be replaced, period. Even the weirdo space cultists still have Infantry. And let's not forget the motherfucking Black Watch of the SLDF. Infantry on steroids doesn't cut it. Because when you tank nukes and keep killing the enemy, you are infantry gods in my book. Rest in peace to the originals, though. Old school was the best school. End of story. Okay, now it's time for other universes lesser known to get mentions, because this video is a fucking century long already on the script, and most people know nothing about these ones, period. Why? Because they make the brain hurty, that's why. Stellaris. Scale. Tech. Forget it. You can have so much infantry at any level, period, you can straight conquer galaxies by yourself. And basically become a god in your own right in game. Your infantry is kind of what you make it, but sheer scale means if you got the mostest with the greater tech. Some playthroughs I have seen have infantry taking over planets in minutes. I'll say that again. Planets, minutes. This grunt is jealous as fuck, and more envious than Cain before he uninstalled Abel from existence. I mean, just look up Stellaris, and you get the point. I mean, look at this shit. Now, look at this other shit. Literally build a soldier, and you can have any you want. Point made, I think. In Stellaris, you can just have the last few factions, with heavy mods, I will add, all in the same universe as their own factions. And you could conquer them all. Period. End of story. There was even a story where someone killed half the population of another entire civilization, turned them into food, then opened trade with said same civilization and traded, you guessed it, food made from their dead fellows. The motherfucker fed them their dead. And that is how fucking hard this can go. Oh, and basically Clark Tech. Nothing else below this is gonna even fight for long. Just be target practice. A real turkey shoot. When you can literally build a soldier like a Build-A-Bear. Yeah, there's nothing at all you can do against that. Just imagine the infantrymen and women are gods at best, or slaves quadrillions or gazillions deep, and you are not winning, period. Okay, now the hard sci-fi. The Z-Lee sequence. Infantry weapons are firing big bangs at you, and that is the lowest level there is. Planets, hell, solar systems are simply gone. Infantry are already gods in this universe, and they decide entire wars in not even seconds. They throw fucking stars at their enemies. You are not winning, or even fighting that shit. You are simply existing 1 second, the next second your entire galaxy is simply gone. You did not even know it happened. Nothing can stand against that, period. You're an insignificant, not even a speck of matter to the ICOG, much less the transcendence. Just imagine humanity as gods. Now scale that up to Googleplex levels of power, and that's the transcendence. Humanity if they were literal gods. And even they are not winning in their own galaxy or universe, because the namesake of the books, the Zeali, just ignored humanity when humanity was throwing everything at them with such ferocity. They turned the galactic center fucking pink. And the Zeali were ignoring them. By the way, that was all of humanity trying to fight them. All of humanity trying to fight them. And there was just one fucking Zeali in the entire Milky Way. Yup. Just one. That was it. Singular. Single. One. And the Zeali could literally think reality to be whatever they wanted within the physics they operated in. Fuck. You're being turned into just a cell and being used as a building block. And you have zero consent to even give in this fucked up non-transaction cause God. That's why. And even they were literally nothing compared to the enemy of everyone that did not even know it was the enemy of anything. The fucking Photino birds. They were just wandering around the entire universe, introducing premature heat death to it just because they wanted it to be comfortable for themselves. And it was just a literal cosmic force of nature, consequence of them existing, and the Zeali were trying to fight them. And the Photino birds didn't even notice. Not exactly an infantry thing, because that is just like a black hole in my mind that gives me an existential crisis just thinking about it. But you don't need infantry if you can just think and boom, rearrange all of reality to where all of humanity is simply some kind of fucked up cosmic soup to make whatever you want from it. Okay. I am done now, I think. Thank you for coming on this ever-escalating war trip with me and entertaining my stupidity and simpleton thoughts on things that may or may not even matter, period. Thank you, Commander Wolf, for saving me. Thank you, whoever watched. And I will see you whenever I can make another video. If nobody else does, I'll love you. That being said, be good. Be safe. Make a good life for yourselves. Don't compromise safety and security for nobody and nothing. Death and disaster is only a second away. Do what you can today. And I'll see y'all in the next one. I am Badger 7 Actual, the formerly homeless veteran, Blast Cap Badger, and nobody on YouTube. Out.